Okay, let's start. Okay, sawadika everyone. Sawati ton chow. Or it means hello everyone, good morning. So yun no, I'm speaking in the language of Thai because today we're going to talk about yung Thailand Early Childhood Education Quality Assurance Assessor Competency Development Analysis. So kung natatandaan nyo, no, you have finished yung mga early childhood education assessments sa country ng USA, South Korea, and yung pinaka-previous natin which is yung Singapore. And this time, ito yung last foreign country na pag-uusapan natin about sa early childhood education assessment before tayo mag-proceed sa ating country which is the Philippines. And ayun, papakilala ko yung sarili ko. I am Erlinda Gracia Buñel, your moderator for today. And next slide po. So today, yeah. So for this seminar, we have invited 3 panelists for today na mag-share sa atin ng kanilang knowledge sa ginawang study ng Thailand sa kanilang early childhood assessment. First one, next slide po. We have Loris Lorenzo. May you raise your hand? Yeah, thank you. Next, we have next slide. Ayan. We have our speaker Marcela Grulla. Ayan, naka-open cam po siya. And last speaker natin would be Miss Ernaline Kimada. Ayan, next slide po. So, yun na. Ayan, thank you. Yun, to start, ayun nga, no, nabanggit ko kanina yung ating topic today, which is yung Thai Early Childhood Education Quality Assurance Assessor Competency Development Analysis. And kung nadi-differentiate natin siya sa mga dating topics natin sa seminar, kung yung USA, South Korea, and yung Singapore, nakafocus sila on how yung mga teachers kung paano nila magagamit yung mga assessments nila sa country nila, sa mga children. Pero tayo, today, pag-uusapan natin yung ano ba yung quality assurance na meron yung mga assessor sa Thailand para ma-provide nila yung quality education sa mga bata sa kanilang country. Next slide po. So, yun, nabanggit ko yung kanina, yung QA na tinatawag sa kanilang country, which is yung quality assurance. And it says here na yung, sorry po for the background noises. So, it says here yun na yung QA is the process of evaluating how well students are learning and how well schools are performing. And when we say quality assurance din, ito yung nakakatulong paano ma-improve yung pag-identify yung mga strengths and different areas sa isang schools and sa mga students. And next slide po. So, kanina nabanggit ko na yung pag-uusapan nga natin is yung country ng Thailand. And kung ito lang, trivia siya, kung sa atin, sa Philippines, alam naman natin na yung K-12 system sa atin, ilang years pa lang siya napapractice. Parang 2016 lang siya nag-start, diba? Pero yung Thailand, yung K-12, meron na silang K-12 system and they are practicing it and or they are using this type of system for almost 36 years now. Meron din silang katulad sa atin yung preschool, 3 to 5 years old yon. Meron silang 6 years din sa primary education, 'di ba? Just like sa Philippines. And meron silang 6 years din sa higher education naman, and it divided into two. Meron silang lower and higher secondary. Kung sa atin meron tayong junior and senior high. Pero sa kanila, tig 3 years. Yung sa atin kasi 4 sa junior high and 2 years naman sa senior high. And ayan, makikita niyo sa screen kung sa atin may tinatawag na DepEd or yung Department of Education. Sa Thailand, may tinatawag silang ONESCA or yung Office for National Education Standards and Quality Assessment. And ayun nga, yung schooling kasi, yung schooling system sa Thailand, ah, katulad din sa atin, divided siya into three sectors. Katulad sa atin, meron tayong mga government o yung mga public, meron tayong private, and yung mga international schools, meron din tayo nun. And yun nga, sinasabi ko kanina pa na sobrang pareho talaga ng education system ng Thailand and Philippines. And yung government schooling din sa Thailand is free and compulsory for 9 years. Pero yung preschool sa kanila is optional. Pero kasi parang nasa culture na ng mga Thai na mag-preschool yung mga anak nila. So hindi na siya yung parang hindi na siya kahit hindi siya mandatory. Tinitake pa rin ng mga students doon yung preschool. Next slide po. And ayan, Thailand's quality assurance system. Yan, since year 2000 nga. Yung Office of National Education Standards and Quality Assessment, or yung sinasabi natin UNESCO, they started or nagsimula silang i-evaluate yung schools nila every 5 years nung year 2000. So, yung first round na ginawa nila, nakapag-assess sila ng halos 35,000 schools. Diba? Yun yung na-assess nila, sobrang dami pala ng schools doon. Tapos kaparehas din sa atin, may mga provinces din sa kanila, cities yon. Tapos, sa first round pa lang na yon, na nalaman na agad nila yung mga issues doon sa mga assessors. Kaya yung study natin ngayon is about doon sa mga assessors competency. And para ma-address nila yung mga issues na to, nag-conduct sila ng detailed study to evaluate yung skills ng mga assessors na nagtatrabaho dun sa mga early childhood education schools and centers. Nag-survey sila ng 400 assessors. Next slide po. For over, yun nga, yung sinabi ko kanina, may mga provinces doon. So, nag-assess sila ng 400 assessors for almost 40 provinces. So, kung 400 sa 40, may tigti 10 or tama, tigti 10. So, and then, yung mamaya yung result, ipaprovide siya sa atin ng mga speaker. And then, ayan. So, meron tayong ditong shifting focus in Thailand's quality assurance process. And yung evolving goals initially focus on academic standards. Of course, more recent assessments emphasize cleanliness, hygiene, and beauty of the school environment. Next slide po. Ayan. So, improving assessor quality. Ayan. Meron din, based din dun sa study na kinandak ng Thai educational system, shinare din nila yung may mga ibang country na nag-a-assess ng quality assurance ng mga assessors nila. Binanggit dun yung country ng Montenegro wherein based dun sa study, sa Montenegro daw, chine-check nila yung education every 4 years naman. Tapos nagpo-focus sila sa students yung kaya at hindi kayang gawin ng students. Sa Hungary naman, binanggit din nila yung country na yon. And then, meron daw dong system where yung mga teachers and schools, ina-evaluate nila. And sa Hungary, they are using computers para matrack nila yung mga children on how they are doing sa kanilang academics. And meron din silang survey sa mga parents and teachers para magkaroon ng feedback para kung paano may improve yung schools. Kung i-compare natin, meron din tayo dito nun sa Philippines. Binanggit din nila yung country na Turkey, and sabi nila they do something similar by checking yung kung paano yung mga teachers are doing, and kung paano ba yung mga schools, kung nag-offer ba sila ng good education for young children, gano'n. So, kaya sila nag-start na magkaroon ng study and mag-survey ng mga assessors sa Thailand. Ayan. Every 5 years yan. So, next po. Ayan. Dito naman, ito yung model ng Thailand. Ano ba to? Ito yung model ng Thailand na sinasabi nilang ambassadors of quality. Kung makikita nyo dyan yung iba't ibang, sa iba't ibang part, meron dyan yung, ito pa pala muna. Di ba nga yan yung model ng Thailand for their early childhood education assessors. And yan yung tinatawag na ambassadors of quality. Na ang sabi, based sa kanila, ito yung nag-e-emphasize ng moral, ethical, and professional attributes ng assessors. Kung makikita nyo dyan, may mababasa kayong moral values na based nga sa Thai, yung mga assessors daw or yung mga teachers must earn trust by being impartial or overcoming biases. And may words din dyan na sila and dhamma. Thai language siya siguro. And sila means moral precepts and dhamma means truth. And based sa kanila, yung assessors daw must be guided by honesty, responsibility, and selflessness. And meron din dyang ethical conduct. When we say ethical naman, yung professionalisms, fairness, yung mga ganyan. And based sa Thailand naman, sa kanilang education system, meron silang 9 core values. Ito yung discipline, mindfulness, kindness, diligence, honesty, and fairness to ensure yung mga to ensure that assessors act ethically and without self-interest. Ayun. So, para maumpisahan natin or makapagbigay ng knowledge about dun sa ginawang study ng Thailand, may I call on Miss Loris Lorenzo to start.
Ayun. Hi everyone, and this is my part. So, the early childhood education quality assurance assessor competency development analysis. So, yan. Purpose of the study is to analyze the composition of external QA. Sorry for the background po. So, to analyze the composition of external QA assessors in Thai early childhood education, or to define skills and indicators of assessors' competency. In the study, the researchers explored the skills and indicators that define the competency of external assessors involved in Thai early childhood education quality assurance. So they aim to understand the composition of these assessors, determine their competencies, and to develop a model to assess these competencies. And they have three main goals where identifying the components and indicators for QA assessors in early childhood education. Number two is to assess completely levels of external assessors. And number three is to develop models and methods to evaluate assessors' competencies. Next po. So, ayan. Study population and sampling. So, yung total population nila is 668. Sample size 400. And sampling technique is multi-stage random sampling across. So, the study focused on a total population of 668 QA assessors affiliated with the Office for National Education Standards and Quality Assessment. From this population, a sample size of 400 assessors was determined. And to ensure a balanced representation across geographical regions, they use a multi-stage random sampling technique, and this involved dividing the country into four regions in Thailand, encompassing multiple provinces. Next po. Ayan. So, research tools. In research tools, ala, sorry po. So, sa research tools, in the initial phase, the wait lang, titignan ko pala. Literature review on QA assessment qualification, rules and ano, ayan. Sabi diyan, yung initial phase, they conducted an extensive literature and theoretical review para po mas ma-understand nila yung qualification, yung rules, ethics, and training of QA assessors. Um, they provided a solid foundation for designing the study. This provided a solid foundation for designing the study and identifying key areas for assessments. They interview stakeholders and observe QA assessors to ensure a comprehensive understanding of QA assessors' professional environment and practices. Sa questionnaire design, um, dito naman, and sa, meron tayong, meron tayo diyang questionnaire was is structured into 2K sections. And number one dyan yung, demographic information. Sa demographic information, ito naman yung nagko-collect ng respondent about the respondents in, ay, about po sa information ng respondents, including their gender, age, years of experience as QA assessors, and the number of assessment rounds they had participated in. And sa second naman po na section, sa section 2, yung 5-level rating scale, the core of the questionnaire used a 5-point Likert scale, ranging from 1, strongly disagree, to 5, strongly agree. This scale was applied to assess various aspects of the QA assessors, rules and performance standards, particularly focusing on key competencies and performance standards. Um, Particularly focusing on key competencies and practice under standards related to students. Um, the use of these skills facilitated a nuanced understanding of participants and allowed for statistical analysis of the data. Next po. Ayan. Data collection results. Dito naman nandyan sa nakalagay, the data collection process achieved a remarkable 100% completion rate with all 400 selected QA assessors providing complete responses. This high response rate reflects the participants' engagement and the relevance of the study to the roles. Um, yung data is collected nga siya sa two main components. Ayun nga yung assessors, assessor demographics. And assessors demographics and kung ano nga, competency and opinions on indicators. So, yung sa conclusion naman niya, nakalagay dyan, contributions on acting standards. The results from the study contribute to understanding and improving the evaluation standards for QA assessors for entire early childhood education. Next po. Ay, Michael, Miss Ernaline Quimada for his idea. For her idea.
Dijang may suluwi. So, yun na ni mag-aaan din kumada. This is for further explanation about topic. I will just extend the topic about represented by experience. So, external accessories, characteristic, and power handles. So we can see there's a graph that describes the addition of inner and outer gender with females. As you can see, there's really a lot of personal characteristics beforehand. External assessors involving early childhood education, quality assessment. The data reveals prominently female sustainable percent as shown, and there is a high percentage 90% holding a master's degree. The age distribution between 35 to 55 years old, smaller proportion, 23 and 29%, and 26 years old or older. Experience is distributed between those who participated in one, which is 37.7%, and those who participated in subsequent rounds, and 5.20%. So the way we provide them approximate snapshots of assessors and their gender, education level, age range, and assessment experience. Next. And then here is a GEO map or a good model means they statistical accurate and reflects the relationship between the variables in the study. Appropriately would suggest some needed adjustment, like perspective, statistic, mean, scope knowledge, in 4.31. This indicates the grade rating of 0.31. How do possible maximum score of score is not explicitly stated in by the text. So in that stage, the standard deviation will be shown as 0.50 shows as the dispersion of the scores around the mean. So as segment 6 yes, negative 5.37 indicates a strong skew or skew most are faster towards their values. Here at the study findings, a high score 4.86 summarizing findings or classically implies that successors are highly proficient in this field. Another one, Onasca, rose in Onasca's role from school doctor to move on comprehensive role reflects the evolving expectation and responsibilities of the assessors over time. Next slide. In these slides, let's assume that the rating scale for each aspect is 1 by or 1 to 5. 1 is low, 5 is high. Example was a trend double A. The average rating is 4.77, very close to the maximum score with relatively low variability, like SE equals 0.25. So the negative skewness and high kurtosis suggest the most successors receive high scores with few possibly lower scores like good attitude or example of AB. The average reading is lower, like 4.36 compared to the true friends, and there's more variability as ST equals to 0.61. So this term negative skewness was negative 7.721. It indicates a strong left skew, meaning most scores are clustered toward the higher end of the scale. Next one was justice or EC. The mean 4.54 is and skewness 0.74, so just a relatively balanced distribution of scores, all those slightly skewed to the right. Punctuality AE, the lower midpoint for 4.13 indicates less favorable average rating or punctuality. Clarity or AE, the mid 4.04 is also relatively low, and the near zero stiffness and the kurtosis suggest a more symmetrical distribution of scores. So problem solving AF, the low mean 4.13 and negative skewness will be negative 2.86 and kurtosis of negative 2.39 suggests that accessor's problem solving abilities are rated lower on average with a left skew. So that's what the table was explained and summary recommended. Yan yung kanina, dun dapat pala yung sa friend. Ayan, yung sa nauna, dapat ma-slide siya agad. Pagdating dun sa true friend accessor, ito na yung last table. Nabanggit na yan kanina, Beth.
Thank you for your knowledge, for sharing your ideas, Ms. Kamada. So next panelist would be Ms. Marcela Grulla.
Saudnitan Chantakan. I'm Marcela Grulla, one of the speakers for this morning. So now we're going to talk about the person-product moment correlation coefficient assessment, which is this table 3. So kung titingnan natin yung table, meron tayong makikita na different skills or ability ng early childhood education, which is itong mga variables na nasa gilid and also nandito sa taas. Ayan. So, this is important para sa mga gustong maintindihan kung ano ba yung skills na nagmamatter kapag ina-assist ang isang teacher ng early childhood education. So, ano nga ba yung correlation matrix? Imagine nyo nag-aaral kayo ng iba't ibang subject. Diba nung high school tayo, nag-aaral tayo ng iba't ibang subject like science, math, Filipino, English, ayan. So, sometimes, kapag magaling ka sa isang subject, kunwari magaling ka sa math, may tendency na dahil magaling ka sa math, magaling ka din sa science. Wait for a minute po. Ayan. So, sometimes, kapag magaling ka sa isang subject, magaling ka din sa isa pang subject. Kunwari nga nung example kanina, yung math. Kung magaling ka sa math, may tendency na magaling ka din sa science because both of that subject is gumagamit sila ng problem solving. So, yung correlation matrix is para rin siyang katulad ng example natin kanina. Yung two subjects na nagko-connect to each other, ganun din yung nandito sa table. Which is, yung dito sa table, meron naman tayong mga dalawang variables. Dalawang variables na connected to each other. each row and columns nagre-represent siya ng different skills like KA, KB, KC, and there's more. And yung mga numbers naman is sinasabi niya kung gaano ka-strong yung connection ng mga skills. And how we're going to read the correlation matrix nga ba? Kapag may mataas na number, ibig sabihin meron siyang strong connection. And closer number, closer number to 1 is mas stronger yung connection nila. So for example, meron tayo dito variables, which is yung SA. Ayan, itong SA. And itong SB. Yung SA, which is the planning skill, and yung SB naman is the data collection skills. So ito, pareho silang may mataas na number. Nakikita niyo dito sa table, yung naka-encircle na red, which is the 0.81, na nagpapakita na strong yung connection nilang dalawa kasi yung 0.81, malapit siya sa number na 1. And opposite naman nito, yung ibig sabihin ng variable ng weaker connection. So, we have here on the table, which is the KB and AB. The AB is the good attitude toward quality assurance, and the KB naman is educational institution context knowledge. Those variables are example of low number or weaker variables na nandito sa table kasi yung number nila is 0.20 na malayo sa number 1. So, bakit nga ba natin kailangan tong table na to? Kasi, itong table na to, para siyang map for trainers. Pinapakita nito kung ano yung skill na related together para alam nila. Kasi if two skills are highly related, kahit isa lang dun yung i-train mo or aralin mo, may improve mo na rin yung isang skill dahil nga related sila to each other. To know if the data is good enough to use or to know if reliable ba yung data na to, meron silang ginagamit na test, which is the KMO. KMO is the Kaiser-Meyer-Olkin test and the Bartlett test. Ayan. Yan. So, let's move on to this next table. So, ayan. Itong KMO, chine-check niya yung data kung good enough siya for finding patterns. Yung KMO natin is, score niya is 0.74, which is above the minimum acceptable score. So, itong data is good for analysis siya. And next is the Bartlett's test. Itong test na to, chine-check niya yung relationship between doon sa skill if they are meaningful or if they are connected. And our test result is yes, they are. Kasi yung significant level is below 0.05. Na ang ibig sabihin, it's okay to use this data for more analysis. So as you can see in this table, we have here the t-value and p-value Klein rules. Actually, the p-value is wala siya dyan sa table. Sabihin ko na lang mamaya kung bakit. So, this p-value, itong p-value, it's talking about kung gaano ka-strong yung relationship between variables kapag tinest mo sila sa factor analysis. According sa rules ng Source Klein 2011, yung p-value is dapat greater than 1.96 para maging statistically significant siya. And yung p-values naman is dapat less than 0.05. As you can see nga, sa table, hindi nyo makikita yung p-values kasi hindi siya directly na nasa list ng table 4, pero yung p-value is infer from p-value, and if the p-value is larger than 1.96 and your results are statistically significant. So, let's move on to the standardized factor loading or yung PSC. So, isinasabi niya yung how strong each variables. And itong standard factor loading or yung BSC, sinasabi niya kung how strong each variable. And next, we have the standard error or the SE. This given idea on how accurate this moment, and this R2 naman or the validity pinapakita nito on how will the factor explain the data. The higher is the better. Since yung parehang data na pinakita or yung table kanina is good, um, dito na natin gagawin yung confirmatory factor analysis, which is the CFA. Itong CFA naman, nakakatulong to para ma-confirm natin if yung certain group skills is talagang belong sila sa isa't isa and if we can trust their relationship. Both two tables, makakatulong siya on how we see the different skills related to each other. And the higher number, ayun nga, the higher number, ibig sabihin mas connected yung skills or yung variables. And yung two tests na nabanggit natin kanina is makakatulong siya para malaman natin kung reliable ba yung data na ina-analyze natin. That's all for my part. Kapun.
Okay, thank you for that, Miss Marcela Gulia. And of course, thank you to our three dear panelists for sharing their knowledge based on sa study. Sorry. And next slide, please. Okay, to continue yung study, no? Kung makikita nyo dito sa may model na to or yung sa diagram na to, ito yung mga competency structure for external assessors ng early childhood education sa Thailand. And kung makikita natin, meron ditong tatlong components which are the knowledge, skills, and aspects na halos nabanggit na rin kanina ng ating mga panelists. And yung mga component na to are linked to specific indicators na collectively nade-determine yung ability ng isang assessor to evaluate yung educational quality. So, yung knowledge nga is about yung foundational understanding, yung skills, yung practical abilities, and yung aspects are yung personal qualities of a assessors. And based dun nga sa mga binanggit na rin ng panelists natin, which is yung skills, yung may strongest influence, yung knowledge, sinundan ng knowledge, and then yung aspects din is also critical. So, next slide. Ayan. Based dun sa naging study, ito yung mga result niya, no? So, yung IT skills or yung information technology skills. And it says here na yung mga assessors daw sa Thailand is need to be good with technology because based sa kanila, it helps them to do their job better and boost yung confidence ng teachers when used in the process. Same din naman dito sa Philippines or I think sa lahat naman ng country na nag-a-assess ng education quality. So next, knowledge of early childhood education. So and it says here that assessors must know a lot about yung early childhood education to evaluate yung schools property. And binanggit din doon yung ambassadorship, yung ayon sa UNESCO, tinawag nila tong true friends. Ayun, based dun sa study, yung assessors should build good relationships with schools and of course be supportive. Third, impartiality and justice. So, it means na yung mga assessors need to be fair and of course unbiased when evaluating schools. So, yung ethics yun and professionalism, yun yung mga essential part. And fourth, data collection skills. Yun nga, collecting accurate and effective data is important for good assessments. And meron din binanggit kanina yung lower rated skills, yung knowledge of educational institutions, yung mga assessors didn't see this as very important. Yung integrity. While yung UNESCO says that integrity is crucial, but yung mga assessors didn't rate it highly. And meron tayong reliability of next one yung reliability ng model. So, ang ating key takeaways for this study na even though yung UNESCO, nag-focus sila dun sa integrity based dun sa guidance nila, pero nung nag-survey sila ng mga assessors, hindi ito yung pinakamataas parang hindi nila to nakita as important in their practice. So, it shows lang na nagkaroon ng mismatch between yung theory and reality na pwedeng magamit pa do for further researches. So, that ends our seminar or our topic for today. So, with that, thank you so much, everyone, and of course to our panelists. We wish we could have more time to talk about this extremely accommodating topic. But thank you so much again. Once again, good morning everyone. Sawat Titon Chow. Everyone, kapung